What's up, everybody? My name's Garrett Anderson, and welcome to episode 3 of the Games with R&D podcast. Today, around the table, we have our usual suspects. We have Roberto.
Hello.
And Dantastic.
Fantastic.
We do have a full show for you. We're going to be talking about a dirty little thing called microtransactions. Also, pivoting off of last week where we talked about the games that ended up disappointing us after all the hype. This week, we're going to be talking about the games that surprised us, ones that we didn't actually expect that we would enjoy. And, of course, we're going to be talking about the games that we've been playing. A little housekeeping first, just so you're aware, we are on all major streaming services now. You can check us out on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, as well as all the rest. Whatever applications you have installed, most likely you could be able to find us there. Also, please check out our Facebook page. Give it a like, and also drop a comment. If you have any questions for us, we'd love to read those questions at the end of the show. So, just jumping right on in, I want to first talk about the games we've been playing. I'm going to go to my right. Dantastic, what have you been playing?
Lately, I've been playing a little bit more Magic the Gathering Arena, specifically on my laptop, because I'm preparing to go to Reno at the end of the month, so I can play in the limited main event at the Magic Fest out there.
That's crazy.
So yeah, I've been going to my game store and playing a little bit more draft, playing more drafts on Magic Arena. I don't have MTGO because my laptop just won't handle it, but you know, it's a better experience to actually play it on MTGO because you actually have people that are drafting instead of bot drafting. Bot drafting sucks. And for those, you know, that don't know what draft is, it's essentially you open up a booster pack, you look through the cards, you take the best one that you think is going to help you win, and then you pass it over to the person on your left, and then, well, you know, that person does that. There's 8 people around the table that usually do that. You go through that whole process, and then you open up your second pack, and then you go to the opposite direction, pick a card, you build your deck that way on the fly. So that's what I'm practicing doing so I can go to Magic Fest Reno. It's going to be super fun. I went to one in Sacramento, and that was a blast. You know, didn't get to the second round. I didn't win. I didn't anything like that, but it was awesome.
Do you go solo?
I do go solo, but there's
awesome.
always a ton of people that you can meet,
Sure.
and there's artists there.
Yeah.
So it's not just Magic the Gathering. It's, you know, the artists, and then there's a couple of food people there, and then you can go to all the vendors that are selling cards. So if you're playing Commander, you could get some cards good for your Commander deck. You can play... if you're playing something like Pauper, you know, you find a bunch of little people playing Pauper, which is all common cards.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. There are no rares, no super awesome bombs, although you can build some pretty broken Pauper decks.
Right.
It's not as powerful as, say, something that has a bunch of mythics.
It's a limited
rares.
deck.
Yeah, it's very, very small. And then, you know, you have Sealed, where you just get your packs, you build your deck on the fly, where a draft, you have to take one card, pass it. That's what I'm preparing for. I've been playing a lot of Magic Arena.
Do you have any things that you like practice in particular, like specific strategies or anything like that?
Since it is a ever-changing format, you never know what's going to happen. It's
Right.
chaos, basically.
Sure.
Like I said, you open up one booster draft, you might actually pull a really awesome blue card, and you say, all right, I'm going to go into blue, and then you get another support color. Okay, I'm going into green now, so... And then the next draft, you might pull out a really awesome red card or even a multicolor card, although it's not recommended to pull out a multicolor card at the very beginning, you know, because then you really have to commit to those colors, and then your deck might suck. It'll suffer afterwards. Every draft is almost different. You know, you can always try to go for certain little archetypes, and, you know, but in general, it's just the practice of, you know, okay, evaluating the cards on the fly, trying to build the best possible deck.
How big is this pool of people?
In a Magic Fest... couple thousand people.
Wow, so there's that many people actually playing the game?
Yeah.
Holy cow. So
no, trust me, the game has been around since about 92, 93.
Yeah.
And there's millions upon millions of people all around the world. The game is printed in multiple languages.
Sure.
It's been around, and there's a new set coming out every 3 months. It's going strong. I don't see it, you know, going anywhere for a while.
Is there a prize pool? Like,
there's a
people
prize
win
pool.
real cash money?
Yeah. I mean, if you get high enough, you qualify for day 2 and you get into the top 8, then yeah, you can actually win money.
That's crazy. So I'm sure there's obviously Magic the Gathering, like, people out there that are really well renowned.
Very much so. Actually, the most recent winner of the last tournament was Paulo Dama Vida de Rosa, and he is an amazing player. Look up to him. One of my favorite Magic the Gathering players is Reed Duke, and he's an amazing player. He's really humble. He streams almost every day, too, on Twitch. And, I mean, I've learned a lot by watching him.
That's cool.
Yeah, so a lot of the really good players hopefully are going to be there. The biggest one is in Vegas.
Okay.
Every year in Vegas. In August. Come on, it's so hot out there.
Wow.
But, yeah, some of the biggest players, biggest names in, you know, MTG cosplay are going to be out in Vegas. A lot of the biggest names in artists are going to be there. RK Post, Randy Gallegos, all them. And you can just buy their prints of artworks that they have put on Magic the Gathering cards, and you can buy it in full size and just hang it on your wall.
That's awesome.
Or even a playmat I got from RK Post back in Sacramento is not commissioned on a Magic the Gathering card, and every time I go play Magic, somebody says, "Oh, what card is that?" I'm like, "Oh, it's not a card. It's just RK Post that made this and put it on a playmat." And they're like, "Wow, that's really nice. It should be a card." I got it for $15.
Sounds like an amazing experience.
It
I
is.
mean, just to get around that many like-minded people and be able to share something that you're really passionate about. I think that's what, is happening, honestly, not to pivot, but going off of like the big problems that are happening now with E3.
Right.
When you get that many people into that many different things, you also see this at Comic-Con, where it's a joint effort of like-minded people, but, some people are into this, some people are in that. Magic the Gathering is all about Magic the Gathering.
Right.
They're all there for that one thing. You guys all have that in common, so like going solo isn't that scary.
It's not.
And also a couple thousand people is a lot different than like, Gamescom over in Europe where there's like literally 500,000 people, right? It's still small enough to where you could probably meet your favorite players, I'm sure, on the floor and at least like introduce yourself and be like, "Hey, I really appreciate what you're doing. I follow you."
Right.
And it's a little bit more personal and stuff.
Exactly.
That's
Even some of
awesome.
the podcasts that I would listen to, like the Command Zone and Good Luck High Five. If I see them there and they're playing, then I was like, "Oh, hey, is it possible for me to get a game with you?"
That's
And
really cool.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
sometimes they're just so backed up with people that want to play with them that you don't really get a chance to.
Sure.
But if you do get that chance,
Yeah.
that is just an amazing experience because then you can say, "Hey, I played with these guys. Whether you beat them or not,
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
at least you got to
Yeah.
play with them."
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I've been playing.
That's awesome. How about you, Roberto? What you been playing?
So, what I've been playing is Bleeding Edge, the Xbox One and PC game that's coming out later this March.
Okay.
They just had a closed beta for people that pre-ordered or have Game Pass. And I enjoyed what I was playing out of it. It's pretty much a hack and slash Overwatch game. Pretty,
Oh, wow.
How do I explain this? It's a 4v4 game made by Ninja Theory where, they have control, they have... The other one is you have to collect batteries and take them back to wherever, or, to the little bases to unload them, and that's how you get points and that kind of thing.
So different game modes.
Yeah, just like, any MOBA or style game, they have their DPS, they have their tanks, they have their healers. It's an interesting game. I know it's not going to be a full price game. It's a $30 game that when it gets released, and it's of course a multiplayer game. It's going to be a little different for sure.
Okay.
The big thing that I started seeing is, when you're playing by yourself, it's a giant hit or miss. You're going to have a good team or you're going to have a bad team.
Okay, there's not very much middle ground then.
Not much middle ground.
So are you guys getting killed the entire time, basically, if you're on the losing end?
Me, from the beginning, I play support. I make sure that my team stays alive.
Sure.
I make sure that
That's
they
your
get
favorite
buffs
class.
and, debuffs and all that kind of stuff against the other teams. I just kept seeing everybody just playing DPS. I'm like, all right, this is
Wow.
not going to work well. This
Sure.
is going to be... It's going to
Yeah,
go one-sided.
You gotta have some healers, yeah.
And, the first 2-3 matches that I was having, I played support. Everybody in my team, stayed alive, and I was playing from far away, so I was able to actually keep them alive. The other team, nothing but DPSs until, like, the very end where they're like, oh, maybe we should have a healer or that kind of thing. And it started working well. I like the themes of the characters that they have. I love the visuals that they're going for this game. It's going to vary from there, truthfully.
Okay.
I know that this is the game that they were working on at the same time as Senua's Sacrifice.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense, yeah.
They changed their mind and they put all the resources on Senua.
That's a great game.
It is. I'm not saying anything bad about
Right.
it. It deserves everything that it's getting. It's getting a sequel, which is another one I'm super excited for. And,
But I get where you're going. Like, too many eggs in one basket is never a good thing, for sure.
And so with this game, because it's a 4v4, it's limited right now.
Okay.
Not just in characters, it was just a beta, so we'll see what else they can do with this game. But no, it's not bad.
When you say it's all melee based, is everybody just running around with a sword, or does like the tank have a giant sledgehammer,
So it
or how
varies
does it
on what
like?
we're talking about.
Yeah.
There's one that looks like one of the guys from Guitar Hero.
Okay.
The white hair, like
Sure.
just character looks like one like he was from the band Ghost.
Got it. Yeah.
And his weapon is a guitar.
Sure it is.
So,
Yeah.
he's just attacking this kind of, and his special becomes like the pentagram, and depending on what like skin
course
you're
it
using,
does. Sure.
it
Yeah.
can shoot like lightning or fire. He
Awesome.
throws out fire and that kind of thing. The support character that I was using, his name is Ice Cool, I believe.
Ice Cool.
Ice Cool. And he's like a mixture of like Lucio and Mercy, if you guys played Overwatch at all, where he's this guy that has this chair. He's not even on a board. He's on a chair, and he doesn't shoot. He has like robotic hands that shoot for him. And he can like use a ray to heal his team and that kind of thing. And then there's like this lady with metallic chicken legs. And
Chicken legs.
And they're just over the top ridiculous characters.
Yeah, that's kind of cool though.
And that's what caught my attention when I first saw it. I'm like,
direction.
the style, how the characters are made, and Ninja Theory making this, I'm like, all right, I'm already on board. And then when I saw that it was in Game Pass, or it's going to be on Game Pass day one, I'm like, all right, I know what I'm going to be playing for a bit. You're going to need a team. You're going to want to play with people with you at the same time, because if you're playing by yourself, there's going to be problems.
Is there a ping system if you don't want to chat?
There is.
Okay,
yes,
cool.
There is a ping system.
Because that's really important. I mean, nowadays, if like we were talking about before, I think on a previous episode, where, sometimes you don't want to be talking to a bunch of 12-year-olds. Sometimes you just don't want to use your headset and mic. It's been a long day. You'd rather be able to communicate in simpler ways. And I think, like, if their ping system is, at least halfway decent, I think that will definitely help them.
Yeah, and the other thing is, like, there's infinite invade attacks and that kind of thing. You do combinations, like, in fighting games. So, like I said, it's, it has Devil May Cry aspects when it comes to that. The other thing is, when it comes to invading, you actually have a bar. So if, you use that bar, you can't invade anymore. You have to wait until it recharges. Well, you're kind of screwed if you already used all of them. So
you just have to take the hit then?
Yeah,
okay.
well, the combinations.
Oh,
because
wow.
if it's just one, you might be able to survive. But if it's something like what was happening on my last matches, where everybody just staggered every time they died, one after the other went inside, it was just 1v4 or 2v4, and nobody was, waiting until everybody was together. I'm like, this is not going to work.
Is it third person?
Yes, it is third
cool.
person.
Yeah, I thought so. I mean, I've never seen Ninja Theory do a first person. They may have, but I can't really think of one off the top of my head. I just wanted to visualize it a little bit more. Yeah. That's crazy. So you get locked into combos like you would in Devil May Cry.
Yeah, but you can escape from them by using your invade.
Sure.
And that's the part that was a little there's another way. There's also the parry system.
Okay.
But you can't move in the parry system.
All right.
So you have to actually parry it the first time when they try to hit you the first time. Ooh. After that, you have to use the invade to actually stop the combination going at you. But like I said, if it's just 1v1, then you have a chance. The part that gets very hard is when you actually get grouped up against you.
Sure, because then you have to like maybe pull off a parry on the first guy and then an evade on the second just to get yourself out of the
you get that extra second when you're playing against another person. If they try to attack you at the same time, then you can still parry both at the same time. You just have to be really good at timing.
Is there any sort of window or like sort of indication like, hey, you have to parry this now? There's no like blade flashes or like little like lever of the bar at the top of the HUD or something like that. Nope. Really, you just need to get good.
Well, yeah, because it's just you. It's just humans. You're playing with humans. There's no bots or anything.
Sure.
So you just you have to be good at your reflexes when it comes to that aspect.
Damn, crazy.
I would imagine with something like that, you have to know the animation of what attack they're going to be using.
Yeah,
so you
so you see it over and over.
Right,
and over
exactly.
Again.
Like this guy, once he gets into this stance, I have about half a second to like say,
How are the maps?
Are they varied?
They are varied. There's with each, depending on which mode that you get, there's like one that has a train that it's in the middle of the thing, and the controls are on each side. There's a few where you're like in the sewer, and the controls move around, so it changes its dynamic in how you have to actually take over specific control panels. But the regular attack ones with the batteries, that one, they activate and deactivate after a certain amount of time, hoping it gets a little better after it gets released. But it just varies.
Have people been positive on the game? Have you been seeing anything about like forums or how many people were in the actual beta?
I haven't seen how many people have been on the beta. I did see the reviews on the Xbox beta desktop.
Sure. People seem positive.
3.4 out of 5.
Okay, could be better.
Could be better.
But I mean, that is why it's a beta.
Yeah.
Have they talked about any sort of like release date or anything for it?
Yeah, March 22nd.
Okay,
like
so that's actually coming up. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not that far away. I mean, I hope maybe they can make some tweaks and figure some stuff out off all the data they get from that. Bleeding Edge is the name of the game.
Yes, correct.
March 22nd is the release date. Well, I guess, stay tuned and to listen to more of that. Do you think you're going to go in and get it day one, or do you think you
I
might
have
wait
Game
out?
Pass, so
That's right, you mentioned that.
I'll have that day one.
I got Game Pass too.
Yay, we can play together.
Well,
Sure.
yeah.
Well, okay, fine. Whatever.
I'll be the tank.
Okay.
Well, I have some news. I've been playing this game, and I am probably, I want to say about 15 to 20 hours in, and I can't wait to talk about it. However, I'm going to make you wait till the next episode, so you're going to have to stay tuned for that, because I'm not talking about it on this episode, because I actually want to give myself a little bit more time with this game, so I hope this makes you anticipated to hear about what I've been playing next week. But instead, this week, I want to talk about a service that I also signed up for. I signed up for Xbox Game Pass for PC, and oh my god, I want to just talk about this service for a second, because I am playing a game on there. Once again, I'm not telling you, you're going to have to guess what it is. Don't really guess what it is right now, but you listeners out there can go ahead and make some assumptions.
Far from noise.
Anyway, I think this might be the best deal in gaming going on right now. I mean, I paid $1 for 3 months. There's, a couple of 100 games on there right now, and man, that list is just ridiculous. I mean, you're talking about the Halo Master Chief Collection, the entire Gears franchise, not to mention simple things like Forza. You've got Dead Cells on there, Hollow Knight, Ape Out, there's AAA games, The Outer Worlds, which was just released, which you'd have to pay $60 on a store shelf for right now. I mean, it's just such a good collection of games, and I know what you're thinking out there. You're like, Garrett, you're still in the F's of your Steam library of 1,500 games. There's no reason why you need Xbox Game Pass. For $1, I need Xbox Game Pass. I mean, there's no excuses. It's $1. If you've been thinking about playing any of the games that's currently on there, and I highly recommend going on and just look at the library. It took me about 2 scrolls on my phones to go, you know what? Everybody's right. I need Xbox Game Pass. I mean, there is literally no reason not to be signed up for this service right now, at least for the 3-month trial. And I want to give a special shout out to a boy at my work, Jesus. Jesus has been preaching the Xbox Game Pass to me since he's got it. And I've been trying to look the other way because the last thing I need in my life is more games. But yeah, that library is just so good. It was easy to install. The desktop icon was easy to pop up on there. I like the interface. I know a lot of people have complained about the Xbox One's interface over the years. I don't find that this is a difficult interface to navigate. I know it's super simplistic. I was easily able to transfer my account over to keep all my achievements, my friends list. And so I just want to say, if you're out there and you're on a budget and you want a huge collection of games, I highly recommend checking out Xbox Games Pass. I have no affiliation with Microsoft or the Xbox brand. I'm just simply saying I'm super shocked that it took this long to get a game streaming service of this magnitude. I mean, Netflix is not new anymore, right? You have all these other competitors in that space. You've got Netflix, Hulu Plus, Disney Plus, Amazon Instant Video. Can I go on? I'd be shocked if PlayStation doesn't come up with something. Now, I know they're not doing terrible in the financial department, and they might not need some sort of video game streaming service.
They do have a video game streaming service.
They do.
But is it the same caliber? I don't even feel like it's in the same, tier or catalog. I hear nobody talking about that.
Because it's expensive.
Yeah, it's somewhat expensive.
Well, so what are we talking about here? Do you guys
We're
know the
talking
details
about
on
PlayStation
that?
Now.
Yeah, PlayStation
Okay.
Now.
But what's in that library that's of note? Is that give you access to all of their main studios? Will I find all the Naughty Dog games in there? Will I find?
So yes and no.
Okay.
The reason why it's a little bit, it's not going to be as good as a deal when it comes to that. How do I explain this? At first, it was way more expensive, actually. They've dropped the price of what it was originally. How they make it work is that they have in a specific, they have servers that are pretty much built with PlayStation 3s, and so you would have to stream the PlayStation 3 games onto your system, your PlayStation 4 or PC. and you need a DualShock controller to be able to play any of these games. The PlayStation 4 games, though, I believe most of them you can actually download them onto your PlayStation 4. On PC, you still have to stream it. On PlayStation 4, you can actually download them.
I already think this is too confusing.
It really is. Microsoft has better infrastructure when it comes to this, and then they actually let you download the games onto the system itself.
Right.
And that's the thing that I actually like a lot, because once you download it, if there's updates, you just have to deal with the updates. When it comes to streaming games, and you want 1080, or if they let you do it, if you have Stadia's premium service, 4K is gonna eat up your data cap super fast. Unless you have Google, unless you have Sonic's, gig fiber tier, whatever.
If you have the best of the internets,
you're gonna be fine.
Sure.
People like that have AT&T or Comcast, and you don't have Comcast unlimited service, you're gonna pay extra when it comes to that after you pass your 1 terabyte for your monthly your monthly outlet. Yeah. So it's one of those things that I want to say Xbox definitely has it better right now. What's the new one that's coming out from Xbox? xCloud. When xCloud comes out, I'm excited for that, but I want to see if you're going to be still able to download that whole thing onto your PC or whatever you're using it on. Because yes, it's nice, but if I want to say 50-60% of at least the US infrastructure isn't built to be able to handle all that data at once.
Sure. With
all these data caps that are still going on, not everybody's going to be able to take full advantage of it unless you live in the big cities.
Sure.
To be fair, the PlayStation Now, PS Now service does have over 800 games to choose from.
That is a rather large catalog. Well, then maybe it's just a marketing thing for them. I just feel like I just haven't heard anything about their service, and I just don't feel like it's promoted, and they haven't reached out to me. And to be fair, I kind of have my head up the video game world butt quite a bit. Like I listen to podcasts every day about video games. I obviously play a lot of video games. We're in a podcast together about video games, and I don't feel like I had the information or the knowledge even about PlayStation Now and what it can do in its service. And do you know how much it costs?
It looks like it's $9.99 a month, or you can go with a yearly subscription fee. 12-month membership, have $59.99.
Okay, well then
that was a lot higher before that.
It was a lot higher.
Yeah.
When
it first released, it was just getting so much bad publicity that one, you will always the best way is connecting an Ethernet port to the back of your PlayStation. It was PS3 games. It was mostly just classic games, but you had to stream it onto your system. You couldn't download them, and depending on what kind of game it was, if it's like a fighting game or anything that requires fast movement or reaction times.
Yeah, all kinds of latency.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the other thing that happened. And then the price was the big thing.
Right.
I think it was, $25 or something a month?
Wow, that's way too high.
And then it was,
close
hundreds.
To 100,
Yeah, hundreds for a year. And so that was those are the main factors that kind of killed, in the beginning. And they've been trying to get it back up where they wanted to be able to one, contest Xbox Game Pass, and then because xCloud is coming out, that's another thing that they're gonna have to be careful with too. Because Xbox isn't really trying to go we're gonna buy. You have to buy your console now to play our games now. No,
they don't care where you play.
They don't care anymore. It's more of they want to get your money when it comes to month or yearly or that kind of stuff.
They're a subscription-based service now, which is totally fine.
Because I don't want an Xbox anymore.
I want to play on PC.
Yeah,
that's
my
really
PC.
Literally all I want to play on.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So now, for me,
I'm already using their controller. I mean, the Xbox One controller, in my opinion, is probably one of the best controllers ever made. I think that's a fair assumption. Yeah. You can go ahead and argue whether or not it is. I'm not saying the best, but it's definitely in that pool, in that tier.
I'm not contesting on that.
But yeah, so I already have their controller. I already have their service. Who cares if I'm playing on PC? So yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've been checking out a game on Xbox Game Pass, and you're gonna hear about it next week. I hope. I hope I can roll
making
credits
bets
on
right now. I mean, honestly, I can probably say Outer Worlds.
Yeah, but I'm not going to go into it now because we're going to pivot directly into kind of an eyesore An eyesore. I'm moving on. You're not going to get it out of me. An eyesore in the gaming community. Microtransactions. We all know what they are. We all see them. I feel like I really kind of want to go to you guys because I feel like because you guys have worked at GameStop, you have had to have heard the horror stories from your customers, all the complaints and grievances that these kids have about microtransactions and how it's affected their experience. So let's just go with Dantastic. What do you think about microtransactions? How they affected you? How do you feel about them?
I don't like microtransactions, but at the same time, I don't mind that they're there because they're optional.
Sure.
There's a lot of games that I play. Pokemon Go has microtransactions in it. A lot of the games on mobile have microtransactions on them. And then there's other games on, PC, PlayStation, Xbox, stuff like that. Especially games that have a multiplayer competitive nature, and there's some like Fortnite or Apex or something that will have microtransactions in there. Some of them are cosmetic.
Sure.
Skins, emotes, whatever. That's all fine and good.
Right.
It doesn't affect gameplay. In that sense, maybe you might want to drop $1 or $2 on a free game to get a nice emote that maybe nobody does have.
Yeah, support the developers
Right.
for a nice shiny shirt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there's, also the whole thing of you can either get the stuff now by paying for it, or you can grind for it and maybe get lucky. And I'm on that side of grinding for it and get lucky, because if a game is good enough, I will grind.
Yeah, and you bought the game to play it, so
Right.
why not play it
Yeah.
and get that item that way naturally?
I think ever in my whole entire time of gaming, I may have put about, I want to say $40, $50 into microtransactions ever. $5 here in one game, $5 there, just to see what the hubbub was about, like that. Most of the games that I've seen all also kind of fall into the realm of pay to win,
Yeah.
which I really do not like, because you just pay to get all the best stuff and then you just decimate everybody, and it's like, well, I'm just trying to grind and get the stuff. Well, how am I going to compete? Well, you got to pay for it. I do not do that. If I already paid $60 for this game and I'm, learning how to play it, I don't want to play against somebody that put an extra $200 into the game after buying the same game and getting all the best stuff. It almost does in certain games, not all of them, but in certain games does feel like it's just, it's very unfair.
Sure.
Because you got this guy that's like, oh, I've got, all this money, I can do whatever I want. And then it's an unfair advantage, because a lot of their systems don't really match you up based on your skill level. They just say, oh, you guys have like the same type of tier deck or whatever, but then, you just get decimated because they were able to upgrade them. And it's horrible. I don't like microtransactions. Like I say, I only use it every now and then, mostly in Pokemon Go, just to get a little bit more like incubators and stuff like that. It doesn't really break the game. It doesn't, affect a multiplayer aspect of it.
Yeah, so but with Pokemon Go, like you were saying at the beginning, that was a free game which you downloaded. You've probably spent at this point hundreds of hours into Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
And, so, a lot of people don't realize, but Pokemon Go isn't actually made by the original Pokemon people. It's actually a pretty small team.
It's actually made by Niantic. Yeah,
Yeah,
they created, what was the name of that one? It's the same game, actually.
It's pretty much the same game. They're using the same infrastructure. They just put Pokemon stuff instead
But
of,
either way, you don't mind supporting them because that team has made a game that you have now spent so much time in and enjoyed.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's crazy. What do you think? What do you think about this, Roberto?
So I'm just gonna start with my history with this kind of stuff. I used to play a lot of FIFA.
Okay.
It was, I want to say 2000. It definitely got bigger during the time the PS4 first came out. So I want to say that was FIFA 14, 15, 16, 14. That's where I definitely got sucked into it. I definitely spent, I want to say maybe $100 on just that one game. And it was because of the Ultimate Team stuff.
Right.
Putting all this money into it, I'm like, why am I doing this? And so, it's been a hot minute since I actually played FIFA, because I knew that if I try to get back into it, I'm going to go back to Ultimate Team. Because that's the part that I always had fun on. Because, you get these packs, you get all these players, you could add more contracts onto them so they stay with you forever. Like, yeah, you get some, you every time you play a few matches, you get gold, but you're not going to get enough to get a pack really fast. And when there's new events, you want to get all these all this gold to be able to get them, and then you want to make different teams. So I had teams for like the Premier League or the Italian League, and the MLS, and all these kind of different leagues from all across the world, or making teams or teams with different players from different countries from different leagues, and it was just fun doing that. But spending that money was the part that I'm like, I shouldn't do this anymore, but I still did it because I wanted to get all these specific players.
Right.
The thing about that too is that every week they update which players come out as far as like team of the week. So these best players that did really well in the real world of soccer, they would have elevated stats in the game, and it's a lottery.
Yeah.
So you would buy the currency, your special currency. It's a premium currency to get these other packs so that you're not wasting your gold that you win only maybe 500, 600 gold when a pack will cost you 15,000. And then you buy the currency and the FIFA bucks, the FUT money.
Yeah.
And you buy these packs and it's like, okay, you get the premium pack. It's like you have all gold characters and you want to try to get that Ronaldo, or you want to try to get that Messi. You want to try to get...
But you can't buy them directly.
No, you could through the auction house.
Yeah,
through the auction house you can. But then
when you say auction house, are these other players?
Other players that
people
are selling them,
Yeah, but this is
But
in
you
game.
can't
This is
go
in
in
game.
the game and
No.
just say, I want Ronaldo,
No.
here's my money.
No.
You
No.
literally have to buy a mysterious pack,
Yep.
Yeah.
and then hope you get who you want.
And then if it's not, but it's a really good character or player, you can actually take that to auction and try to get money so
Right.
you can actually save up for this character.
This is a slot machine.
It is,
Yeah,
basically,
it is.
yeah.
And so, that's
crazy.
one of the things that I stopped. That's why I stopped playing FIFA, because it's one of those things that I'm like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. I can spend this money on other stuff because I'm, $60 for the game when it first comes out. Because when it comes to any sports game, any fighting game, possibly any racing game, when it comes to multiplayer, if you want to be the best, you have to start right when it's a thing.
Well, here's the thing, though. There's a difference between DLC and microtransactions.
Yeah.
Most racing games have just DLC. They're just car packs.
Oh no, yeah.
It's not random stuff that you're getting. They say specifically, your $10 will get you all of these cars plus access to these racetracks. Cool, no problem. You buy that once, it's all good. I don't consider that a microtransaction.
No, that's not where I was going with. Because what I was going to go with was like the events. So,
Right.
When there's new one, there's like,
Right.
oh, the new event for this year and that kind of thing. And so if you don't start from the beginning, you can't get access to those events.
Right.
And, they change them every year. They change it every year. But, they always have that, like the very first event that you can only get these specific players for that time. So you want to make sure that you start from the beginning and get them for that whole season.
They do that a lot in the NBA series games, like the NBA 2K 18, 19, 20. I'm playing a little bit of NBA 2K20. I've never purchased anything with the real money. I always just try to grind my games and everything. And granted, I am not very good, but I still at least get some money VC to get some packs and everything. And that's all fine and good. But yeah, when they first started, there was the Kevin Garnett series, and there was the Dwayne Wade series, and there was all these other series that came out. And now that those events are done, you can't do that, but the microtransactions are still there. You can still buy the currency. You can still try to buy those packs. You can still try to get that characters. And then, you know what? With NBA, it's a little bit easier to kind of, get a little bit more rewards, because if you're able to fill in the entire roster of that particular set, then you'll get more currency to buy more people.
Oh, man.
Which is, but all in all, it's, it's horrible. I don't like it.
So I want to read something from GameSpot here. So I got a credit to GameSpot because I don't want to get in trouble for just rattling off of numbers that I don't know. But according to them, EA made $993 million on their last quarter alone from microtransactions.
Yep.
I want to say that number again. $993 million. So
In a quarter.
in a quarter.
Yeah.
Last time I checked, I thought there were 4 in a year.
There are.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't know what 993 times 4 is because, damn it, I'm not an accountant. But I do know that's a lot of money, and I don't see them going away. I do feel like there is a way to go about it that isn't as nefarious. But, at this point, if people are going to continue to buy these, I don't really see them going anywhere. And I don't really know what we can do, honestly, as consumers, other than just simply not buy them. But, speak with your wallet has always been the best motive. But I mean, when you talk about games as big as FIFA, as big as the NBA, as big as all these other titles that they're releasing,
Even Madden.
That's also on
those
EA.
are very popular games. And to be fair, too, a lot of people who play Madden, and I'm not going to stereotype them, a lot of people just play one game.
Yeah. No.
So they don't mind because, for us, like, we're buying multiple games throughout the year. So we don't mind giving these people our money, these other people our money, these other people our money, because we're spreading our time out amongst, all these different platforms and games and styles, where some people are like, all I want is Madden. So maybe they don't mind dumping their money continuously into it because they are so heavily invested in that one thing. And I guess I can't fault the players for doing that, but this is how this also ends up being thrown into like our single player experiences. So like I can't say a lot about microtransactions because like I was telling Roberto and Dantastic prior to recording. So guys, I don't play a lot of sports games. I don't even play a lot of online competitive games, and I definitely don't play a lot of mobile games. There are definitely some single player story driven games that have, been victims of microtransactions.
I can tell you one right now.
And I want to share one with you that affected me personally, and it's actually probably one that not a lot of people would think me about to say, and that's a Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2. So this is probably one of the lesser of the evils when you're talking about microtransactions, but they actually specifically held a lot of backstory and character development in the final DLC pack, which was dubbed Resurrection. If you didn't buy that DLC pack, you straight up didn't get the story and plot between Lords of Shadow and Lords of Shadow 2. And a lot of people don't really like that specific game as far as the Castlevania franchise is concerned, but I did. I kind of heavily found myself invested in that game, and I wanted to know more about that character. I wanted to see all the world building. I wanted to see all of it. And I ended up just going on YouTube and watching it because I was like, wait a minute, you guys are locking the story behind this DLC? And I know DLC and microtransactions are two very different things, but I felt cheated. I felt like, no, you guys could have easily included this. This is just a cash grab, in my opinion. I think it's just as bad as what you're starting to see a lot of now in Fallout 76. Mm-hmm. I don't want to go too into that game because I think it's widely known that Fallout 76 is a complete trash fire. But one thing they're doing in that game, which is super evil, is in the Fallout series, you need to repair your weapons and your equipment constantly. They slowly degrade over time, they wear down, and you need repair kits in order to fix them. Well, they made the repair kits an even more rare of a drop. You can farm them for a ridiculous amount of time, but guess what else you can do?
You can buy them.
You can buy them. And if you fall in love with a specific piece of armor, right? If you find that Brother of Steel armored suit that you want to keep in tip-top condition, and you find this, laser gun that you want to keep in tip-top condition, and I don't know about you, anytime I see numbers, stats start to drop, my brain starts to kick in and go, no, I need this at 100%. I don't want to be rolling around with this armor at 80%. I need it at 100%. Man, that is just so evil to be like, yeah, you could just purchase this repair kit and make it all better. Anytime you start to interrupt the main flow of a story-driven game, man, that's kind of what irks me. If you want to throw it in there for cosmetic design, that's terrible. If you want to go ahead and add like a loot box kind of like, hey, you never know what you're going to get, meaning it's a mystery pack, and you create this fake currency, that's just straight up man, it's just the evilest of all evils to me. I just can't. I don't even know what I would say. Like, who makes these decisions and where can I find them and just throw ketchup on their white shirt? Because that's the kind of level of pissed I am when I start thinking about this stuff.
I mean, not to get you mad.
Yeah,
Right.
I will. I might be.
Maybe I'll wear a white shirt on purpose so you can throw ketchup on there. Yeah,
for sure. But yeah, microtransactions. It's not an easy subject. I don't think that they're going anywhere anytime soon.
Well, as long as there's whales out there willing to put down thousands upon thousands of dollars into their FIFAs and into their Fortnites and Apexes and Pokemon Go's and any other game that's on there, even WWE Supercard has it. You can pay for currency, buy more packs, and it's all random.
But I think there's a difference when it comes to some games. Like,
Right.
for example, Fortnite,
Right.
they don't really have loot boxes. They have, you can buy the
It's
cosmetic.
like the emotes, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
The
you
emotes and all
can,
that.
and they change every week, but you have a choice to do that. With the microtransactions, those ones, it's all by chance. You don't know what you're getting. The ones that will like break the game for you, those are the ones that I have more problems with. Cosmetics, it varies.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like I said, I like Overwatch. I play a lot of Overwatch, and I've gotten to the point where I don't spend money in the game. Or when the game first came out, I spent definitely more than $100. But it's just one of those things that I got sucked into the game. I liked what I was playing out of it, and now I'm just, every time there's an event, I don't grab $20-$40 just to buy boxes and get the skins that I want. No, now I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna play every week, do my weekly challenges, get those boxes, and then I'll play with my friends and have fun there, because that's what I've been doing just for that game. The ones that I do have problems with would be like Star Wars Battlefront 2 or Shadow of War, Middle Earth. Those ones where you have to play the game and spend money to get the best upgrades when it first released, or with Shadow of War, it was part of the story itself to get all these different loot boxes to get the minions that you want to be able to destroy through the fortresses and that kind of stuff. And that was something that they finally fixed at the end, because I was excited. I just beat what was the
Shadow of Mordor.
Shadow of Mordor. When they were finally releasing Shadow of War.
Sure.
And I'm like, cool, I'm excited, and they started showing off like, oh, and you can get loot boxes. I'm like, it's a single player game. Why would you put loot boxes in this game?
Ranger.
Yeah.
No, sorry, I had to say that.
No,
because
you're
that
good.
is, yeah, you know what I'm talking about, though? Ranger.
Yeah.
If I counted the thousands of times that I heard an orc run up to me and go, Ranger, and I'm like, you again? I've killed you like 9,000
Right?
times.
Oh my God.
But we don't need to get into that.
But yeah, no, they added loot boxes into that game. I'm like,
Terrible.
well, I'm just gonna wait now. And people were saying it's a great game, but that they made it, they force you to get those boxes to be able to advance further into the story, or make the best army. I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna wait until the game is dropped in price, and we'll see from there. And then they announced that they were gonna actually take off microtransactions. I'm like, well, I'm already sold. And they were having it on sale. I think it was like $20.
That game is on Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is before I had a strong PC that could play that game.
Sure.
So I was all on PlayStation.
It's terrible.
But it's just when it comes to cosmetics, it's a hit and miss. If it's something that it's gonna stagger the game, or just make it so people that spend money just makes the game easier for them, that's where I have a problem.
If it makes it pay to win, that's where I have a
Yeah.
problem. If it's something that doesn't impact, the multiplayer aspect of it, where the competitive nature of it, if it's just skins and emotes, you know what, maybe I would. If it's really awesome, really cool, whatever, it's 99 cents, whatever, here you go. Take
Sure.
take $1. I paid, I might have gotten the game on sale. I'd give you a couple more bucks. It's all good. But yeah, if it becomes pay to win, no, we're done.
Well, pivoting off of that, I'd like to talk about something a little bit more positive, a little bit more upbeat. Last week, we talked about the games that ended up disappointing us the most after all of the hype that they promised. This week, we're going to talk about the games that surprised us the most, ones that we had no expectations for, that we ended up really, truly loving. So, Roberto, what game shocked you?
Well, I have two games.
Okay,
actually.
give me two. That's
So the first one I'm going to talk about is Monster Hunter World.
Okay.
I have this weird, I wouldn't say weird history, but they came out on PSPs, but I didn't start seeing any interest on it until it was on the DS, 3DS. They released for the new 3DS XLs 2 versions. There was the shiny gold or Legend of Zelda 3DS, and then there was a silver with the Monster Hunter logo, new 3DS XL.
That was
Okay.
a nice one. It was really, really pretty.
I didn't care what Monster Hunter was at that time. I'm just
Sure.
like, I want that one. That's
Yeah.
a prettier one.
Yeah.
That one is too shiny to,
Right.
if the person that was stealing these 3DSs had to choose between the gold and silver, they would go for the gold. They'll leave the silver because that's the one I wanted. I'm just like, cool. Nobody would touch my 3DS.
I want the one that won't get stolen.
Yeah.
It's Roberto's thinking process here.
But it looked nicer.
Yeah.
It looked, cleaner.
Sure,
It,
yeah.
The logo. I don't have it with me right now. I
It's
still
okay,
have
I
it.
believe
It's
you.
mine.
Yeah.
But I wanted it, and unfortunately, they sold out of reserves on those suckers,
Oh no.
and it was sad. A coworker of mine got both of them. And he's like, I'm gonna keep the one that I like the most. Like, you got both of them. What are you doing? I'm like,
Sure.
I just wanted it. And so, he's like, hey, I don't want the Monster Hunter one. You can have it.
Oh, perfect.
I'll sell it to you.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. And so I bought it from him, and I'm like, this is a pretty 3DS.
Okay.
And it came with a digital code for the game. And so
Let me
I'll
ask
try
you.
it.
I don't want to interrupt you because I never like doing that. But did you feel like a poser? Because there are these 13-year-old
little
girls.
bit.
There are
Yeah,
these
yeah,
13-year-old
yeah.
girls. You've probably seen them. They're wearing fucking Thrasher
Motley Crue
t-shirts
or-
and Motley
yeah.
Crue shirts. I'm like, do you even remember reading a Thrasher magazine? Because I'm old. I'm 37. Okay, I read Thrasher magazine. I used to buy those. And you're wearing the shirt. Get that shirt off you. Don't take it off now because I don't want to get in trouble because you're 12. But go home and get changed and have your parents throw it in the trash. But anyway, continue.
No, I did.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of friends that are really big Monster Hunter
Oh, did
fans.
they approach you? Go are you a big Monster Hunter fan? while you're playing it?
They didn't like me for a bit.
Oh,
'cause they're
because
like,
you had the Monster Hunter. Yeah,
I
you
had
were
it.
a real
didn't,
Monster
and
Hunter
they
fan.
really wanted it.
Okay.
And I'm like, it's just a pretty 3DS. I liked it. It was
Right.
clean.
Sure,
it was
sure,
simple.
sure,
and
sure,
it was nice.
So how did you redeem yourself?
Well, I tried to play the game. I tried to play the game. I tried.
Yeah.
It was not my thing.
Oh,
I couldn't
no.
get into it.
Sure.
It had a tutorial, but it didn't feel right for me.
Yeah.
And even with the little control stick that the new 3DS XL had,
Okay.
it just the camera wasn't working.
Sure.
So I'm like, I give up. I'm not gonna touch this.
At least you tried. Sure.
And so a few years later, they announced Monster Hunter World. I'm like, ooh, that looks cool. That looks so much better than they did on the 3DS. Because of course it's gonna look better than the 3DS. Go to the website and go and try to get into the beta. I'm like, okay, I'll try it. I got a code. I downloaded it, and then I tried it, and I don't like this.
Oh
This is
no.
I mean, it looks cool, but I don't like this. I think it was a month before it got released, and so people were coming to me and they were like, "So what'd you think?" I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna buy it.
But they said, but you have the DS. You have to like this game.
No,
Yeah.
right?
They didn't say that, did they?
No, they did not. And then I got an email from Sony, and they're like, "Hey, have the game."
What? They
And
give it
I'm
to you
like,
for free.
Yeah, they gave it to me for free because retail programs and stuff.
Sony writes you, I know you have a Monster Hunter DS. We're giving you the game for free.
I wish that was it. No,
Yeah.
no, they were like,
Yeah.
you're one of our PlayStation
Experts on that.
experts. Yeah, it's like they're experts, and you were chosen from the whole community to get it.
That's pretty cool.
And so I'm like, all right, I'll check it out, and then a few hours for download, that kind of thing. Started playing it, and then I got hooked.
Really? What
Yeah.
was it?
Just so at first playing by myself, I wasn't feeling it.
Sure.
I wasn't feeling it. I was, I tried. I wasn't getting the hang of it. I didn't understand how the systems were working. Even though they streamlined the crud out of this game, I was not getting into the game itself. That was until I had a few friends that I used to play on Xbox with that finally changed to PlayStation, and they got it on PlayStation because they wanted to get that extra skins for Aloy, the armor skins for Aloy, because it was
There
only
was some
on
incentive
PlayStation.
to get it on the PlayStation
Correct.
4. Yeah.
And so they invited me to their game, and like, dude, because the thing about this game, every time you do a hunt, doesn't matter who dies, the party gets knocked down 3 times, the hunt's over.
Okay,
You
resets.
failed that hunt.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll join you guys, but I'll tell you right now, I'm really bad at this game.
Yeah.
I die so much.
I'm going down.
And I'm so sorry from the very beginning. And like, dude, it's fine. And so they were giving me, they'll tell me how to do specific things, how to, do shortcuts and lock on and just attack specific parts with the weapons. And so we start, like, hey, there's so many different weapons. Try them before you actually, commit to one. And that's where, they started telling me all this stuff, how to use my items, how to, get this going, how to continue into the story, because you have to progress to the story to unlock all the other armors. And that's the part I didn't get, because I was just doing this one mission to get this specific thing, because that's what I was trying to do, is I was trying to collect all the armors. But in order to do that, you have to make it farther into the story.
Got it.
And so, they were helping me, and then that's where it's finally, like, it kicked in, it just finally, it hit. I'm like, oh, I know what I'm doing now. And from there, I spent almost 200 hours on that sucker.
Wow, that's a long time.
I got really sucked in. And then after, I beat the story, I leveled up in rank. After a while, I did slow down on the game, and then I got really excited about Iceborne, and then I tried to get back into the game. Like, no, I can't get back in. No.
Right, I've already invested so much.
And it's not like a bike where you remember everything.
Sure.
It just...
It requires all of you.
Yeah. So that's my story with Monster Hunter.
I like it. It's a good redemption story.
But the other game, actually, after Monster Hunter, I got sucked into Dead by Daylight.
Okay.
And it's a asymmetrical game where 4 people are working together to escape just the world that you're in from the hunter or the hunter, the killer that actually is trying to torture you guys until you die, kind of thing. And they're trying to sacrifice you to the deity that controls this whole thing.
Okay.
And I hate horror. I'm not a big horror fan. I'm a giant scaredy cat.
Okay.
I try to stay away from all that stuff as much as I can. But my cousin got me into this game. It became a free game on PlayStation, so I did. I just put it on my library just to have it there. And then he's like, dude, download it, play with me. I'm like,
okay.
No.
Yeah.
I went no, and so it took me losing a bet to play with him.
Wow. What was the bet?
We were just playing Mario Kart.
Okay.
And
right. Who would win the race or whatever?
Usually, I mean, he's a better Mario Kart player than me, of course. It was one of those things where, like, I think he hustled me for sure.
Okay.
Where
sure.
I barely beat him at the first two tracks, and then he's like, all right, I'm not gonna let you win anymore. These are all just flukes. If I win and actually win the pre, you're gonna play with me.
You're gonna play Dead by Daylight.
Dead by Daylight.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, my number from just the math, I'm winning.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter how much.
And then
I
he
lose.
just whooped you.
Oh, not just that.
Yeah.
The computers were on his side too.
Oh, good.
So
Yeah.
the blue shell just
Yeah.
killing me all the way through, and I
Sure.
on one of the last tracks, I got last place.
Uh-huh.
And so when you get last place, I don't know if you know this, but you get 0 points.
It was rigged. This whole thing was rigged.
But he took the number 1 spot. While and so bet's a bet. I play the game and I die instantly. No way around it. You have to be good at hiding, at just being able to juke the killer and that kind of thing.
Sure.
But that's the thing about the game that was really fun, is that when you were close to the killer, the music would change, the atmosphere of like,
right. It got intense.
For me, my heart was beating really badly.
Oh, boy.
Like the first maybe 10 matches, and every time I like barely escaped, or I would die, or that kind of thing, and I'm like, I don't want to play this game anymore. It's just too
much.
It's too much. But after a while I got used to it. I got really into it with him. That one, I want to say I maybe put 125 hours into it when I was like really into it. And
the game got really popular on Twitch for a minute, didn't it? I remember
it
was like a lot of people were playing it on
when
Twitch.
It first came out, because it was on PC at first, and then they released it I think a year and a half later on console.
Yeah.
But it has a community.
Didn't they get licensed like horror
They
monsters
do,
and stuff? Like, who they got in there?
They have the pig from Saw. They have Freddy Krueger.
Not the pig.
Yeah. Michael Myers.
Ooh, I like
let's
him.
see, the Demogorgon from Stranger Things.
The Demogorgon.
Yeah, that's the most recent one.
Okay.
Ghostface is in it.
God. All right.
And there's many more, and there's like even unique ones that they made themselves, which are pretty interesting. But they also have people like what's her name from Halloween.
Oh, I'm not very good at my horror movies.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, she's in it. Her character's in it. The two people from Stranger Things are in it.
Okay.
The each of those killers have like their own main, like the main character that's in it.
Yeah.
In the actual game too. So
Are they
you
still
can choose
supporting that game?
They
still
are.
adding to
Yeah,
it?
they actually
yeah.
just added, what is it called? Going back to microtransactions, actually.
Right.
The new thing, which is like the battle passes.
Okay.
But they have a specific name for it on Dead by Daylight.
A survival pass. I don't know.
It's something like that. But you get into matches, you get experience, you level up into different tiers and that kind of thing, or
Got
you
it.
do specific challenges. It unlocks new things into that, and it's new items that you can get from those things, and then like you can get more lore or that kind of stuff. So it just varies on what you can do in that game. But there's so much that they're still trying to do with the game. Like I said, I haven't really been playing it as much, but those two were the big ones that I got really sucked into. Once, one, it clicked, and then two, I had the people that actually were able to give me a heads up or how this stuff works and that kind of thing.
Yeah, so like the one thing I noticed about both the games that you talked about today is it seems like your friends kind of definitely had a huge role into getting you into these games. Do you think honestly that you would have gotten into these games without
God, no.
them?
I told you, I'm a
Yeah.
scaredy cat, so I've never touched Dead by Daylight.
Right.
And then Monster Hunter, well, technically Sony also pushed me on that one.
Sure.
Because they were like, take the code.
Sony's our friends.
But still, you probably wouldn't have gotten into it as hard.
Oh,
if
no,
you didn't
yeah,
have those
of course.
people supporting you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the power of friendship in gaming. It's a great place to. I mean, honestly, the internet is definitely like a scary place, but I have met some really cool people online before, and I really wish I still had contact with some of them. I lost so many people over the years just throughout the shuffle of systems and online support and stuff. Fantastic. I want to hear about the game that you didn't think that you would enjoy that you ended up loving.
So, it's a series of games actually. It's Borderlands.
Borderlands.
Borderlands. When I was working at GameStop, there was a couple of people that worked with me. One was the, at the time, assistant manager named Sarah, and then the other lead named Drew, who I call Draw because his name is past tense, and we wanted it to be living in the now, so I call him Draw, and even got the other coworkers to kind of call him Draw as well, which is awesome. And even Tim would call him Draw. He's like, all right, whatever, it's all good.
You started a thing.
I started a little thing. It was only between us over there at GameStop, but that's fine. One day, as Borderlands was coming hyped up, there were like millions and stuff with weapons, and they're not all the same, and all this and that. And I never really liked shooters.
Okay.
Never
you weren't
really
a big first-person shooter guy?
Not a big first-person shooter guy. Not at all. Never really played any Call of Duty games. Never played Halo. Never liked it. I mean, well, okay, I tried playing Halo, but I was just like, whatever. I don't like that. I like shooters. Wasn't my thing.
Right.
So I was gonna pass it up. I'm not gonna play it because it's a shooter. But then Sarah and Draw go, well, it's always more fun when you play with more people.
Oh, yeah.
And the difficulty ramps up, and it's not your typical shooter. It's more like it has an RPG element in there. You like RPGs? I said, oh, yeah, I do like RPGs. You're telling me this is a shooter with RPG elements in there? You can level up and you have abilities and stuff? Like, well, if you guys are going to play, I'll play. They're like, yeah, we're going to play. So I had just got an Xbox. And I was like, all right, whatever. I bought the game. We coordinated a time for us to start playing. Got my little headset that came with the Xbox, rinky-dink little,
Sure,
whatever.
yeah.
Started playing it, and at first I was just like trying to figure out the controls again because I never played shooters before, so I don't know what I'm doing.
You're like, what is this left trigger, right trigger nonsense?
So and once I started getting into it, and who did I choose? I chose...
See, I was going to ask you that
Right,
question.
I know. I'm trying to remember. My first character was, what's his name? The guy with the bird.
Mordecai.
Yes, Mordecai.
The hunter.
The hunter
Yeah,
guy,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah.
Because I was like, okay, you know what? I don't want to be in the action. I don't know how this game is going to play out. Let me just be the sniper.
Yeah.
Let me be Mordecai. And I started going through his trees, offline once we'd finished a couple of sessions. Start looking at his things the way he could do. Like Mordecai can go fly in and kill somebody that's behind a barricade and all this and that. But playing with other people really got me into this game. And the storyline was pretty fun. The dialogue was fun. The graphics were, the cel shaded. So it was very different from your normal typical shooter,
Right.
And it wasn't supposed. You didn't have a bunch of people that were yelling at you. The 12-year-olds, cursing you out and telling, saying that they slept with your mother, and I'm just like, really? It's like, no, that's not possible, sir.
Yeah.
I'll squish you with my toe. That's fine. But But then, it was just fun because I had other people to play with. And so, yeah, just like Roberto, it was the friends that influenced me to get it because they kind of, said, hey, we're going to do this. Peer pressure. Peer pressure is a bitch sometimes, Like, usually I don't give in to peer pressure, but hey, this time I did. It was a video game. It's all good. Loved the series, and then Borderlands 2 came out.
Oh, I love Borderlands.
Dude, Handsome Jack. I still say Handsome Jack is by far one of the best villains that has ever been created for a video game. And I mean, his dialogue was amazing. His just evilness was off the chart.
Doesn't he say something about like a butt pony?
Yeah,
or something?
Butt stallion.
Yeah,
A butt stallion.
Yeah.
That's what it is. The famous butt stallion. I love
yeah.
Handsome Jack. Yeah.
And even when he's talking, he's eating the pretzels. He's like, "Man, these pretzels suck," and you hear him like throw it away.
Yeah.
I mean, he was one of the best villains ever, and I never thought I was gonna like the Borderlands series of games. And I do. I love it. I beat the game so many times, got all the trophies.
Wow.
It's, again, trophy hunting. When you like a game, you'll go for the trophies.
Sure.
And the only reason you'll go for the trophies is because you like the game. You're not going to do it just to do it. Like, you know what? Hannah Montana is a really easy game to get a platinum trophy, but I ain't going to play it.
Right.
Maybe I would. Shh, don't tell anybody. But Borderlands, that was it like that. It was so fun.
Man, I knew I was going to love Borderlands from the get-go. As soon as I saw that stupid car fly through the sign and say, with Cage the Elephant playing their little song, I knew from the get-go. I was like, dude, sci-fi, space western, cel-shaded, first-person shooter RPG, I knew instantaneously. But I will say, you're right. That was, honestly, Borderlands 2 is probably some of the best cooperative play, even today, that I can think of in the past. I mean, I had, like, a group of people that I played with all the time. We met up every day at this one specific time. We all would meet up and we would just play all night. And this is before I was married and before I had a kid, so I had unlimited time at my disposal. And we would play till like 4 or 5 in the morning, like on the norm. Also, Borderlands 2 has one of the coolest pieces of DLC. I think it's a Tiny Tina's Tina's Keep.
Yeah,
Dragon's Keep. Yeah, where it's the Dungeons and Dragons themed DLC. That one really hit me in the feels. I don't want to go into spoilers because of reasons. For some reason, if you haven't played through the Borderlands series, but
I just like Mr. Torx
if you haven't.
It was really good.
Mr. Torx,
Hercule.
Oh man.
Oh, Mr. Torx.
Explosions!
Yeah, like the over the top.
Satan or Hercule from Dragon Ball Z.
And Claptrap gets.
Yeah, exactly.
But I like Claptrap. I think he's a cute little robot droid. Like I just found him very entertaining.
Not
like
just
everything
that,
about it.
But what is it? One of the missions of Borderlands 2, his birthday party. I felt so bad.
Oh yeah,
I felt so bad for that too. That's like a fetch quest mission, isn't it? You have to go fetch a bunch of stuff.
You have to give
I don't want to get into spoilers.
Invites and everything. And
No, we don't.
Give Claptrap a high five.
Yeah.
Like that.
Oh man.
But I mean, tell me, who didn't fall in love with Moxie? Come on.
Yeah, Moxie. It's kind of hard not to fall in love with Moxie.
Okay, Roberto didn't. Sorry, but I did.
I fell in love with Moxie.
God, yes,
okay.
I fell in love with Moxie. Even to this day. Oh, Moxie. Anyways.
Yeah, well, the one that I'm going to bring up is definitely not a AAA game. It's something that's really small, and this was before I was going down my Steam library alphabetically. At first, I was literally just like doing the video store thing. This is dating myself, but there was a time when there was places called video stores, and you would look at the cover of the video cassette tape and say, "This cover looks good. I'll watch that." That's how I was going through my Steam library before. Completely unconventional and dumb. But I selected Kingdoms and Castles. I think I brought this up really briefly on one of our previous shows for a second. But the reason why it just kind of took me off guard is, for one, I had no idea what it was until I started playing with. And instantaneously, I'm like, okay, this is a city builder colony sim. Right? You start off with a very, very basic keep, and it turns into this massive castle, and this stuff is very basic. It's got very calming piano music. You're looking at an isometric god view, which is very unlike me. I never really got into any like the Sims games or Civilization games where you're kind of looking at that god view and building up your town and placement. But there was something about this game And I don't know whether or not it was like the cartoon art style or, like I said, the music that was very calming. I just found it kind of serene to stare at this. And I first, built some houses. Then I built a farm. Then all of a sudden more people were coming to my town. And I'm like, oh crap, I need to build a church and a tavern and a hospital. Next thing I know, I'm 60 hours in to this super silly small city builder. It's made by Lion Shield. It's also published by Lion Shield, so they developed it and published it. I don't know how many people are in their studio, but probably not many. I'm guessing a handful at most. It's on Steam right now for $10. It's called Kingdoms and Castles, and I think it was one of those times, once again, where I would come off of like some like rather large AAA game, and I was just like, I'm gonna go ahead and select this just purely based on the cover of it. And Kingdoms and Castles kind of quickly set me off into other city builders. From there, I ended up getting into Banished, which is another city builder. And, from there, it just went on and on to these small little independent city building games, which all of a sudden just really wasn't me, right? I've always been into the big grandiose, AAA, third-person action RPGs, first-person shooters, things that have a lot more money and, packed behind them. And for whatever reason, I fell in love with Kingdoms and Castles. I still think it's like one of those experiences where I could probably go back to Kingdoms Castles today and build a whole new kingdom and be completely satisfied just doing that. The combat wasn't difficult. Literally, you build up your town. As your town gets larger, you need to provide more supplies for these people, right? The more people you have, the more mouths you have to feed. The more mouths you have to feed, all of a sudden you start running into things like the plague, fires that will break out, flooding, because there was not only just like a day and night cycle, but a season, right? There was wintertime, springtime, summertime. Obviously, during springtime and summers when you're trying to harvest all your crops and get enough food to feed all these people. So if you've put in all your resources into, let's say, a stone wall as opposed to a farm, half your population is going to die. And for whatever reason, too, you could zoom in on all the little characters running around, and I started naming them. These faceless characters that have very little, they're pixels, essentially. They have no real detail. It's not like this is like some crazy high-detailed game. It's basically Lego blocks. Not quite Minecraft, but like maybe a step up from that. But definitely not like any sort of like, oh, I could look at that person and say that's Susie. I had to name them, and I started caring about this like town in a weird way. And then I'm playing the game probably like 50 hours in, and out of nowhere, the game threw a freaking curveball at me. Also, I got invaded by Vikings. These mofos invaded my kingdom and tore me up. They like literally kidnapped like half of the women and children, and they pillaged my entire town and burnt down my church, and like all this work I had like put into like was basically like, oh my God, what has happened? Like, I am a terrible person. I'm a terrible ruler. Never make Garrett king. And then I realized I had missed a complete separate category where there was a defensive category where, like, literally you were supposed to be building up all these, defensive, like, giant turrets that can, like, launch, like, and I don't know how I didn't see that before. I think I was just so obsessed with, like, oh, I'm going to make some nice roads down here. Oh, how about a blacksmith over here to make tools? Oh, maybe a, nice little farm on this side. Like, I got so like sucked into like the peaceful atmosphere that when I saw the Vikings, and I really want to like say again, like when the Vikings came, it was so dumb. They're little pixel characters holding flags, and like they have fire. Like it looks like a little like as if like a little character was holding up like a matchstick or something like that. But I've never been so terrified. I mean, I played all the Dark Souls games, and there were bosses like Vicar Amelia. Forget her. You see this Viking come with a little matchstick ready to burn down your freaking pomegranate field. You're gonna get pissed because you've gone into the trouble of like really designing this perfect looking map from afar. There's some screenshots of it. I highly recommend you going online and just looking at screenshots. You really just kind of just fall into this trance of building.
Yep.
And all of a sudden I realized I like city builders. So Kingdoms and Castles is probably one that took me the most off guard because I didn't realize I needed it in my life. And I think I could go back to Kingdoms and Castles like once a year.
Do you incorporate defenses now in your towns?
Oh, if I have to, oh yes, definitely. It's one of the first things,
Unless you're one of those people that just likes to watch it get invaded, like I'm gonna build it up nice and pretty, and
Yeah.
let the Vikings.
That's what I used to do in Sims, just like, the free roam one where you can actually UFOs. Well, now start attacking my city. Oh, let's also put tornadoes and earthquakes. Just kill everyone.
Yeah, I mean, so I really do think that if you're listening out there and you're finding yourself playing the same game over and over again, that's fine. Like, I'm not going to tell you how to live your life if that's the way you want to roll.
Right.
But I do feel like variety is the spice of life, and there's probably a game out there that you will love that you never even knew existed, or that you knew that you even needed in your life. So definitely go out there and just experiment. Treat it like a buffet, Don't just stick to the same thing.
Oh yeah.
So I think that was pretty much all the subjects we had to cover for this evening and this show. That was episode 3 of the Games with R&D podcast. I want to give everybody a reminder. We are on all of the major streaming services. Check us out on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, amongst the rest. Feel free to give us a like. Drop us a comment on our Facebook page. Feel free to ask us any sort of questions that you might have. We'll read them at the end of the show. Just also a heads up, we're still toiling around with a name. We are still the Games with R&D podcast currently, but we are actually open to suggestions, and we still have a lot of things in the works. We're talking about getting a different logo. We're talking about getting better audio. We're all just very new, so we really appreciate you giving us a chance. If you're into episode 3 already, we just want to say thank you. It means a lot to us, and this is obviously a passion project.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And we just hope you enjoy what you're hearing, because we're doing it for nothing, and obviously you're enjoying it for nothing. So
Suggestions for topics would be great. Suggestions for names would be amazing, so that hey, I mean, you think you have a really good name for the show, we might actually use it. I don't know, throw it in the comments.
absolutely.
Topics for us to talk about, because sometimes it's a little difficult to come up with a topic, although for the beginning it's we've got a lot of topics to talk about, but eventually we're going to get into that point where we already did that topic.
The well is running dry. Yeah.
So we'll reach out, and eventually if we get big enough, we could do a live show or something.
Absolutely.
That would be fun.
Yeah, and maybe some video in the near
yeah.
future as well. Maybe you can actually see Roberto's really awesome room with his ridiculous amount of pop behind me.
And plushes.
Yeah.
Got a lot of plush.
But that's all. We're signing out. We are the Games with R&D podcast. Have a great night.
Later.
Thank you.